see, trust is your goal. Visualize it. When you're trusting, you have that assurance, blessed assurance. You're at peace, you're calm. You can reason better, you can be joyful, you can be in the way of living that you need. Now, we live in an uncertain world because of our ignorance. We're children, you see. We are learning to become comprehensively an adult. We're not there yet. What's the conceived of as ideal situation with the child? Well, it's that they trust the one that's caring for them, the one that's probably brought them into the world, parents. They just trust them. The onlooker may think, oh my goodness, those parents are really dodgy. But the child has to trust. And if the child doesn't trust, well, he's just alone and in chaos and no help, and he's not conscious of the help that's coming to him, and is possibly despairing. I need help. Whereas the child that trusts the parent, in some sense, even when the parent's not there, they sort of trust that the parent will be the answer to their problems, will come back, will be here again if I call, if I cry long enough. Because of some experience in their immediate past that tells them, this is what happened, the one that rescued me came and things were all right then. So if I have any difficulty, I turn to them, but my expectation is from the parent. So we have it in the Jesus story that God is our Heavenly Father. We call him Father, you see. That sort of implies, doesn't it, automatically that he is Father and we're in a good relationship if he's heavenly and godly and, our ideal. So it is this conception that we take hold of and want to take hold of. It's our desire. This would be very nice. In some sense it would be ideal if we have a Heavenly Father that's loving and caring for us. So we visualize that. And in uncertainty, what do we choose to believe? Well, expediency says it's a good idea to trust in a loving Heavenly Father because we will be assured and calm and happier in the now. It's the great solution to the now, isn't it? Man tries to perfect the great solution for the future. And the future's unknown, so he struggles with uncertainty. But in the now, of course, I can just be assured, validly or not, I could still be assured in the now. And that would be a better now than not. You could say, well, does that lead to a very dodgy future there? Well, try and see. When you're trusting in God, does your then series of futures turn out terrible and chaotic, or basically good? And do your futures improve from your experience in the past when you do so trust? Are you a happier person overall? Are things improving? Are things good for you? Do you have joy? Do you have some hope? Do you start to find that blessed assurance is automatically with you? Even when you're not particularly if you like, looking on whatsoever's good and lovely, but even when you're battling with a problem, somehow that assurance is still with you, and you cope with the problem in a much better way. You cope better and possibly even differently too. The person with assurance who comes onto the stage to talk is totally different to the person who's worried to death he's going to make a mess of it. It's sort of self-fulfilling, isn't it? Whatsoever's good and lovely, think on these things. Why? Well, because you find life much better when you do that. Not just in the present, but in the future too. And you can only know that from experience, and you're getting that experience here, in this universe, this lifetime. And that is the wonder and blessing of it. We're learning here and now how to engage with life eternal in the kingdom of heaven. Bless you. Thank you, Dad. I'm reminded, because I had an extremely good service yesterday. It was a youth service. Youth services aren't usually terribly successful. Although everyone tries to be sympathetic because they're youth and they're doing their best, and isn't it lovely that they are doing their best? But this was exceptional. I go an hour earlier so that I get the full practice time that they have. I'm the only one there in the audience, basically, apart from the sound man. And there was 6 of them on stage. And 5 fellas and 1 girl who's recently married. She's very young. I mean, she's... don't know. She could be 19, could be 20. That sort of tech college age, you know? Yeah. Very Christian. Pastor's daughter. He has 6 children. They have 6 children. And she's one of them. Nice. Just nice looking. I don't mean drop dead gorgeous, just nice looking. But her personhood, absolute angel. She's coordinating these other 5 worship people, all fellas, all young. And they are young, they're her sort of age. Well, one chap's a bit older. He's just in the background and he's just supporting as a slightly older man would. But he's in earnest. They're all in earnest. Well, in as far as you can be with very little experience behind you. You know, you're a teenager to come early 20s if you're lucky. Sort of thing. I don't mean if you're lucky, I mean, you know, they might have just about been in that age bracket. But she is making the best of everyone, and she's fluent. Her words are flowing. You see, she utterly believes and is assured and confident of what she's doing, and she wants the worship to be good. They do less vividly also want it to be good, of course. They're a bit self-conscious though. They're youth. She is not. Why is she not self-conscious? Because she's so focused on what she wishes to achieve. She's in earnest. And she's in earnest in a loving understanding and wanting to have the team in the same, what do you call it? I don't know, but in the same frame of mind and enthusiasm. And she's doing it. She brings out and encourages the best in everyone. She suggests, but she's not forcing. They suggest, and she's accepting, and perhaps we could do so and so, and she makes them feel good, valued, loved, all of them. Of course, they being fellas and she being a rather lovely girl, calls out the best in them. It really does. Do you see her assurance? Makes the whole thing wonderful. And at some point, she says, or someone says, well, I think it was her, yeah, I'm pretty sure, it doesn't matter if we, stop and have a few breaks and things don't go quite right, that's all right. Do you see there was a loving confidence that we'll still be able to bless our audience because of the love of God in us, really? Do you see why I say she was an angel? There was a joy, a youthfulness, of course, and a feminine loveliness, but a caring and a sincerity and assurance and wonderful motivation that this be worship. Something lovely. And of course, she's entering into the full opportunity of, they are going to be significant in leading the worship. I mean, they sing about, 4 or 5 songs, and it will take certainly 20 minutes, possibly half an hour, depending how long it strings out. And then it will go into the service more, and there'll be someone with a word who comes forward, and that's pre-planned. So and so will say something, and that'll be an older person. In this case, it was the administrative lady, who is a good bit more than just the administrative lady. She's earnest believer too, and sincere. The whole thing's lovely, you see. But do you see? One person with confidence because of assurance is an incredible blessing. And that's what we all are when we're assured. How do you get assured? You know, don't you? Whatsoever's good and lovely. Think on these things. In other words, feed on spiritual food that's good and lovely and wholesome always. And you will do well. You will feel the loveliness of God with you in times of difficulty. You will be utterly prepared. Bless you. And the whole world will want to bless you when they need help because you're there. There will be difficulties, of course. You are here to learn about good and evil and to build into your being an incredible gravity towards the good and a repellence of evil, sufficient for you to be a wonderful person in the kingdom of heaven, life eternal, forever. Life eternal. Bless you. Thank you, Dan.